This is video number 13, a mare moscoviense crater. Again, we're just zooming in on the various structures. It's getting a bit boring at this stage. They all seem to be very similar. So again, it's just a educational tour of the hundreds and the potential hundreds of thousands of structures that are here, which they haven't told us about. But again, they could be scared to have us concerned about these things. Obviously, if I was in their position, I wouldn't also alarm the public. The mystery is, are they empty, or do we still have life in these structures? Is it true that's the alien moon base on that side of the moon? Could this have any indication that the craft from Roswell could have come from here? The other rumour for Roswell was it was actually a German type of craft that was experimented on, because that was near the experimental training facilities of the USA, and the people this is very bright and luminous. The people inside that were very small, looked like aliens, were actually Japanese pilots because they're very small and lightweight. The rumour was that Germans started using very high spinning circular craft to reduce gravity, and the early structures that were pictured there looked like very primitive craft that were like tin cans that were pictured. And again, in 1947 we had the Philadelphia experiment, which was electromagnetic radiation to camouflage a boat. So again, during those years we had experiments with electromagnetic field, so that's why Roswell could have been an experimental accident, and then the aliens could have been brought into a theory, could have been brought in to actually confuse people. But again, that doesn't explain the large sighting in 2004 over Mexico. Were these our craft or alien craft, and were these related to the far side of the moon? Again, all these structures here that I'm seeing, there's no roads, there's no communication. Here we have a very good picture, and also that luminous square around it. There's no roads, there's no evidence of any type of buildings we see on Earth. Quite a few rod structures there. Again, all the things they keep telling us, the moon is barren, there's no atmosphere, there's no vegetation. Obviously this is a lie, so the same things could be happening for Venus and Mars. I'm actually zooming in very quickly now because it's getting very boring. All the structures look the same after a while. And again, we've got towers, courtyards, excavations happening. The towers are not small. The smallest are about 50 meters, which is about 15 stories. So on Earth, that would be the size of a average city. This is a very good picture of the rod structures. So if there are aliens still there, the population in theory could be millions here. Again, the population, if this was the case, and all these structures are in all the other areas that we can't see, and there are aliens there, that obviously we could be sustaining tens of millions of aliens on the moon. It sounds crazy. I wouldn't even dream of trying to understand these things 3 or 4 months ago without seeing these pictures. This tower is very interesting. It's like a triangular tower. I'll just use the rule. The top bit of it is 120 meters, and then it goes down step size. There's 1, 2, 3, 3 steps down. So again, I can see the potential shock for a NASA that they've actually found an alien so close to Earth, and yet millions of potential structures, and yet keep it a secret and not scare us on Earth. Sounds crazy, but yeah, obviously it's seen here on these images. Okay, this is a very nice structure here. We've got a rod structure and obviously the area around it. Now, if this was a William Cooper seems to believe in his lectures in William Cooper, The Hidden Truth on YouTube, that these are actually a joint project between the Russians and Americans. Here we go, towers around the edges. And we have a treaty with the aliens, and we've built huge underground facilities where they can take humans and do experiments and promise to return them. All these things, obviously, I didn't believe first time I actually listened to him. Also, Phil Schneider, who was in one of those underground facilities when there was some sort of conflict between the Greys, which are down there, and the humans, and quite a few were killed. Hard to believe. Obviously, it sounds like science fiction, and yet that experiments are performed on them. And William Cooper said the first UFOs that were actually found near New Mexico in Aztec, there was quite a few of them, had human body parts in them. So yeah, we could be food for them. Don't know about that. So far, all the things William Cooper talked about. Here we go. Here's the areas around there, that structure. I don't see the Americans and the Russians actually having all these joint projects for 50 years and yet having a Cold War and potential conflict in the Cuban Missile Crisis. It's tricky to believe that one. Now, if we use the space shuttle secretly to land during the during all those liftoffs, I don't see any landing strip here at all. So if it potentially was our base, and we did have a treaty with the Greys, and we have their secret UFO craft that we built, where would we land these craft, and why can't we see any landing strips? Or just landing spots full of circular craft. That's the part that I can't understand at the moment. Oops, I see a little trail happening there, or something square. I think we've seen this before. Okay, yeah, we have. There's some rods on the ground forming a large type of rectangular structure. Yeah, William Cooper in The Hidden Truth talks about the NSA and CIA having secret treaties with the Greys and sharing the technology. Here we have some very nice things here. Maybe it's true. This is a very nice picture. And maybe it is true. I'll just zoom in a bit more. You'll see the various layers of the rods. Maybe it is true. It could explain all things that they have, which could be fiber optics, quantum computers are coming up, things like that. Don't know. Don't know about that one. Underground facilities full of humans used as guinea pigs. Bit far-fetched. He talks about the cattle mutilations in the USA and Black Hawk helicopters, and these were used to supply the aliens with glands. They actually have a very, very poorly evolved system to digest. So this glandular substance then applied to the skin so they can absorb nutrients. Yeah, it's a bit difficult to grasp that one. And he believes hundreds of thousands of children are kidnapped, and the aliens love to eat young children because their meat is very succulent. Here we go, we've got all the towers there around the edges. As these people with these theories obviously are out there, they could be just sent there for disinformation, fed wrong information obviously, so they sound a bit crazy and discredited. So the ones I listened to were Phil Schneider and also William Cooper, The Hidden Truth. The other one was Gary Webb, but he doesn't talk about the UFOs. That's a very nice structure there. Could these things be a natural type of crystal formations or things like that happening? Here's one more example of all these towers in a crater. Could these be unnatural formations? I doubt it, because we've seen quite a few square type courtyards and excavations around these forms. So that's why straight away that's been discredited. Also in the Tycho crater you can see the walls and square buildings. This is very luminous and you see the rods there. So it could be a form of power generation where power is actually emitted. Here we go, quite a few towers on the edge. And the rumour is the soil is very full of helium-3, which is a very clean nuclear fusion material, and a few tons could actually provide all the energy for the whole USA for a year. So that's why we have an interest in mining on the moon. So could these aliens be also using helium-3 from the surface? And you'll see quite a few very bright luminous rod structures which seem as though they're actually emitting energy. They're the ones we'll try to capture pretty soon. Yes, right there. It's very bright and you'll see various type of rods and structures, but it seems to be too bright just to reflect sunlight. Here we go again. Very highly luminous. You see all the rods and angles there, or it could be just they've caught the sunlight and are made from a glass-like substance. So again, I can't judge that. Here we go, there's numerous ones there. Obviously after you've seen a lot of these you start to get a bit bored. The first time I was very fascinated, I couldn't stop searching for these type of structures to see. That looks triangular there. We have like a taller rod than smaller ones. First time I was very fascinated. I couldn't stop just going everywhere and trying to find all the different forms, and after you've gone through it they all are very similar in their design. And these are very bright, so it could be the energy sources I was commenting on before. There's a lot of ridges in these areas, and this is where the towers seem to form, also the ridges themselves, and also they have a habit of sticking together and forming ridges. And that was seen also in the Tycho crater, where there's a whole row of towers and they just keep forming like a wave-like ridge that goes all the way.